We're ready? We're live. Okay, study session. Here we go. Don't forget. Oh. What?
Music.
Was Joe? Mayor.
Oh,
Mayor is not here tonight. He is he's on vacation or something. Anyway, don't forget about the owl here. It will follow you. Okay. So first thing we have on the agenda is Sonia.
Agenda, we have an agenda?
I'm
Okay.
gonna say we're not gonna, we don't have to play
No,
We're being relaxed.
All
That's
right,
all I'm
sounds
told.
good.
sorry. I
Okay.
should have.
everybody
Sounds
keep your
good.
hat on. We're good.
Okay, so, I mean, like you said, Holly, I'm the only one in the agenda, and really, the only item that I have before you is the renewal of our jury trial contract that we currently have with Thurston County District Court. It is due to expire at the end of this year, and so the one that you have before you I will bring it over to the next council meeting of November 22nd for voting action. So we've contracted with the Thurston County District Court for numerous years. I mean, I don't even know how many. I would think the history of the court probably. And but it's primarily for the jury trial services. So our facility is not equipped to handle jury trials. So anytime a case goes for jury trial, we transfer the case over to Thurston County District Court to use our facilities, but we use our prosecutor, our attorneys, and all of that. And so the only difference from our current contract that we have to the new one that is being proposed is really just the rate. The rate is changing. If you look at your page 2 of that contract, there's one fee that did go down a little bit, and that is the 2.2 under jury trial fees, the confirmation hearing. It used to be $170, and that went down to $136. What the confirmation hearing fee is for, it's a hearing pretty much where all the parties get together just to verify with the judge that they're still ready to move on with this jury trial, and therefore the county can continue on doing the jury summons to summon the jurors. So that's what that rate would come in. And then the other fee is the jury trial daily fee of $477 per day on the jury trials. And that rate did go up a little bit. It used to be $413. But these fees are based on inflation, really. And so that's why it went up just a little bit.
How come that one went down so much? Isn't that unusual for the 136?
The 136
And this is what we would pay the county?
is what we would pay the county, but we only pay them when we do have a jury trial.
When we can't utilize our own facility.
Right. Right, and so if we don't send any jury trials, obviously, we don't pay them anything. It's only at the time that I can tell you that in the history of, well, at least in the past 4 or 5 years, we have not sent one single jury trial. But it's nice to have this contract with them so that if the need comes, we have that facility to use.
And it is in the budget.
And that is already budgeted, yes, because we do need to use that jury trial. The only other thing that is included in this new contract that is not included in the old contract is 2.1 filing fee. Those filing fees are fees that we will pay the county in case of catastrophic event. Is that what
Yeah,
what we
our
called
court
it?
if our court couldn't use our courtroom for whatever reason, building
Yes.
collapse or
For
something.
some
so like
reason,
that court.
right? Then we can use their facility for us we don't have to stop our services here for court cases. We can just move over to the county and use our facilities. But there would be a filing for, the cases. And so those are those rates that you see on that page 2. Other than that, I mean, everything else is still the same as it has been. This is a 5-year contract. So it goes into effect January of 2023 through December of 2028.
And this is something that will be brought before council to approve?
Yes, on November the 22nd, you will have this before you. So I don't know if you have any questions.
James, you have any questions?
Negative.
Why would I vote no against this?
I don't know why.
There'd be no reason.
There isn't.
That's what I'm asking. What reason would there be to vote no?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, there is no other, well, like I have said, earlier, our facilities are not equipped to hold their own jury trials, so there's really no other option, so,
Sounds good.
Thank you, Sonia.
thank you.
I just would like to make that we do have Mayor DePinto also on Zoom.
Oh,
If anybody has any questions or
Okay.
anything for him, he's joining us on Zoom.
I was on vacation.
It's a fly on the wall.
okay. Well, the next thing on the agenda is your report. Do you want to do your report?
Yeah, so you might have seen that email regarding questions about the YMCA. I'm basically what I've done so far is met with different stakeholders in Yelm, local community members, and I'm probably going to tap you, Councilmember Smith or Holly. I know we're going a little more informal in these study sessions. Holly, I'm going to tap you probably as the mayor pro tem to be on this, and if there's other council members that also wish to be part of this kind of steering committee, more than welcome. But I'd like at the very minimum to have Holly on it as well. But basically, we've been meeting since I want to say March-ish. And what we've been doing is basically recruiting these people, and they're just community members here in Yelm, but a lot of them are very busy and all that. But we've had good conversations with a lot of folks. We've identified a couple possible locations. All that kind of needs to be hammered out before council really gets involved with making those decisions on behalf of the city. But there will be ask for the city for city council support, obviously, before any of this moves forward. So that's about where we're at on the YMCA. We'll convene the entire steering committee here probably by beginning of December. And yeah, happy to answer any questions about it or anything.
Sorry, Joe, you said there was an email on
Yeah.
that? Because I didn't get one, I don't think.
None of us have seen an
Yeah.
email. That
Yeah.
we're shaking our heads anyway.
Oh, I thought your
What?
CC, you should be on it. It was just sent earlier today, about probably like an hour and a half ago or so. It was
Maybe
just
it
municipal
doesn't
liability was
Hour ago?
asking
No.
questions about it.
Okay, sorry.
I'll be on that.
Okay, that's Josh.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess you can see us, huh? Sorry.
Sounds good.
The owl season.
But that's
Any
all I've
other-
got. And I think my Wi-Fi is a little bit wacky down here. So, but yeah, happy to answer anything else or answer any other questions.
Anybody else have any questions? All right. Next, council member initiatives. James. James.
Paging.
Paging.
Councilmember Blair.
James. Do you have any initiatives? Okay. I'm gonna say no. Josh.
Sure, I got a couple. What we got coming down the line to vote on? Mayor, you would have more idea on that.
On what do you mean? On what do you mean? What we're voting on?
Let's come up in next, let's say in November that we'll be voting on that we should be discussing right now. Because I understood that the study sessions are more for discussing. It would be nice to discuss these items ahead of time, more in depth, more back and forth. If we had a better idea of what's coming up in the future, what we need to be discussing, arguing per se, if we need to, what's coming down the line.
Sure.
It'd be nice to hammer out
Yeah.
some of the preliminary pros and cons, before we get to council meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what this is for. As you stated, obviously that contract is one of the big things that's coming up here towards the end of the month that we're going to be voting on, or the council will be voting on. Other than that, Todd, do you want to, or Kathy, share some of the things that we're putting on tentatively for the next agenda?
Yeah, I can share, Mayor. So we do have, our November 8th meeting is canceled. So on the 22nd, we have 2 public hearings. We have the ad valorem property tax that Stephanie, your finance director, reviewed with you guys last time. And also the public hearing, second public hearing on the adoption of the 23-24 biennial budget. We have the jury trial contract coming that Sonia just reviewed. We have a fee resolution that has already been reviewed by Cody Holt. And then there is a purchasing policy that will be coming before you also. We don't.
And also Stephanie, sorry, Stephanie, is the preliminary budget going to be released prior to that meeting as well?
So the, what is on the website are the final numbers I have to date. We had Lynn list everything on the website. And then the ordinance that I bring to that meeting, the budget numbers will be in that ordinance also. And then the property tax ordinance will be the property tax.
Okay, thank you.
What's
That
the
satisfy-
purchase, what was that, the purchase, what's that again?
Purchase
So-
policy.
So, cities are highly encouraged.
Bless you, Brian.
to have policies and procedures in place for different finance policies and procedures. So the first one that we've worked on is a purchasing and contracting policy. So basically, it just outlines how we are going to comply with the state bid laws when it comes to purchasing, and the different ways that you can go about bidding or doing different public works projects based on dollar value. So, and whether it's one craft or multiple crafts, that sort of thing, it's all in line with the RCW requirements. And then in addition to that, we have in the past used MRSC for small works rosters. And they've required us to update our resolution stating that we're going to use them for small works rosters. So we have the MRSC resolution, and then we have a resolution for the purchasing and contracting policy. And I actually have those ready to go. If council wants me to just email those out and you can look at them.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
I'll do that.
It's ready, go.
In reference to the fact that we're having a public discussion on the last meeting, November, for the budget, second one for the budget, first one. How are we doing on getting, you said the second,
Second for both.
right? Oh, second for both, okay. How are we doing on getting notifications out? And I'm asking because of the last city council meeting, we had one company come forward and they made it quite clear that they didn't get notified, give them the benefit of the doubt, but there's also, I've been communicating with some people and they're kind of like, if they're not on, if they don't go to the Yelm website, if they don't follow the city of Yelm Facebook or somebody that shares a post from the city of Yelm Facebook page, and they don't subscribe to the Nisqually Valley News, where it's,
Those are the three areas that we do. The public hearings for the ad valorem property tax and the budget. The previous ones that we had at our last regular council meeting were advertised the prior 2 weeks in the Nisqually Valley News. Legally, that's where we have to put those in the paper. The public hearings for the 22nd will be in the paper the 2 weeks prior also. We do put the notices on our website. We have them posted at City Hall. And we are sharing also our link to our agendas on our website. And so when the agendas go out to you, those links are also going out on our social media pages too to share. So we're doing our due diligence to put them out in the areas that, and unfortunately, sometimes people do need to take a little bit of responsibility if they want to find those things. We're putting them in the paper, we're putting them on the internet, we're putting them on our website, we're posting them at City Hall. So
well, is there a reason why we don't take advantage of the one tool that every resident of the city has, and that is their water bill? That comes in by mail,
No, it doesn't. Not necessarily.
but for those who may not be on social media, connected electronically, they're getting their water bill via the mail. And I'm just wondering why we're not utilizing, and here's my only issue. We can follow the letter of the law. And the letter of law makes it so that when we're taken to court because somebody says, hey, you didn't We go, oh, we did. But the letter of the law and the intent can always be seen as two different things. And I want to make sure that we're working our due diligence on that intent. Because there are, there are people out there who are not following on social media and such. And we, until we can get a more dynamic way of, the Nisqually Valley News is like the Seattle Times, the Olympian and News Tribune that's out there with everybody. We need to find, I'm just wondering why we don't use the water bill.
We are looking into skywriting as well.
And I just-
But-
No,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Stephanie, go ahead.
No.
So the one issue with the bill, it's a very small space. And that bill is generated on behalf of the utilities. So you have stormwater, water, and sewer. They pay for that bill to go out. They pay for the printing. So if we need to get a notice out regarding one of the utilities, that takes precedence over any other notification that we can put in that box. And it's a very limited amount. Now, you could, the general government could pay to put an additional flyer in the utility bill, but that's racking up quite a bit of money.
And I understand that that is a cost, but it's also a cost of reaching out and trying to engage our residents. And that is something that we, as a city, I will be, at least my experience and some others that I know, as a city, there has not been the proactive reaching out. And pretty soon, I mean, I like to describe, we're at the teenager phase. We're 10,000 strong at this point. As we continue to grow, we will soon get so big that a town hall meeting won't be possible. We'll probably have to start, if we get to the level of like Olympia, Lacey, that the city council meetings are in a bigger form because they need more space. We are no longer the small little town that you walk to the supermarket and you run into a neighbor that says, hey, do you know what the city's doing in references to the central business district? Oh, no, I haven't heard what's going on in that nice little conversation. We're no longer at that level. We are, again, as I say, we're 10,000 strong, and we just, I just would like to see a little bit more proactivity on our part that we can try to reach out to our residents, because, I mean,
Okay, but what about, like what Kathy said, we're doing our due diligence. We're doing what we need to do. I understand that there are some people, they could use the library if they needed to. They could, walk to City Hall. Most people that are, it sounds like, some of those people you might say are kind of off the grid. Is that okay?
some of them, but
So-
it's not their life. They
No,
don't sit
no.
there on social media, it's not their life.
Okay, Josh,
So based on, so I'm going to go with Brian on this, based on conversation I had today with another fellow business owner in town here. Which equates over to this very issue, very much the same, is because we were talking about like, how do you get the word out about your business these days? Because, Facebook has become so prolific, but yet now we're at advertising blindness. We don't see that stuff anymore. We don't see those notices. Yeah, like I said, very few people get the paper like they used to back, in the 80s. Yes, that was great. 90s, great way of transferring information. But nowadays, with advertising blindness so prevalent with us, it's hard to get that info out there for people to really see. There will be a very select few that will proactively search it out and find it. But what would it cost to put, because I don't look at a water bill, but that's me, because everything's on auto pay. I'm that new generation, auto pay everything, it's just easy, I don't deal with it, I got things to deal with in my life. But what would it cost to send that extra piece of paper in with the utility? Because that is something that does go out to everybody. Not everybody's going to look at it like me. I'm not going to look at it because I don't look at my water bill. It goes into the file cabinet for my text
But
to
the
count to
people
look
that are
at.
getting paper statements are the old fashioned people anyway, so
do we
they're the ones
know-
that wouldn't go online.
do we know how many are
Maybe,
getting
but
paper
what's another way to
versus?
get that info out?
No,
Besides,
right, I'm just
So
curious.
we can get a cost estimate. I mean, the smallest they'll do is a 3rd page flyer. They'll print it and stuff it, and we can get an estimate on that. It's probably gonna be around $2,000.
Is that
A year
$2,000
or a month?
One
For
run.
time.
Okay, so that's $2,000 a month.
A
The bill
month.
goes out a month, so that'd be 24,000 a year. And if that increased the people knowing what's going on by even 10%, that, you know, I understand that that's a cost, but that's also a big benefit that just all of a sudden happened and came in. As I say, we've got a lot of things that are going on that we're getting ready to do.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mayor.
so if I may, I was obviously just kidding about the guy writing, but I do think that there are other ways, and I get your frustration, Brian. I get that we want to be more proactive in the city of notifying people, and I understand that. The one thing that I think that we can do and should push is a listserv where we have people sign up when they're doing their B&O taxes, when they're signing up for utility services, all that stuff. If we can get those people to sign up on the listserv where we can send them out notifications, that is something that I think that we could do and be very cost effective. As far as, you know, spending 24K a month or a year or whatever to hopefully get a couple more people involved. I don't like that idea personally. But you know, it's council's will. We'll do what you want.
Well, with that 24,000, whatever that is, the 2,000 a month, just to put my opinion in here on if people are off the grid, they're off the grid because they kind of choose to be. Nothing against that. I know some folks too. But if they wanted to find out what was involved in the city, I think they would have some proactiveness and then to look into things. I know I check the agenda when I can't log into my doggone email and I go, oh, I forgot my password. Okay, it's on the city website. There's the agenda. So it's there for people to look, but then nobody's going to check there. We can send out as much mail as we want. Even the SWAT committee wanted to send out some kind of what's it called when you take a survey and they only get, so they send out all this money on surveys, but they only get like a 10%, you know, reaction, sometimes 5%. And so what a waste of a piece of paper for surveys that nobody's going to read. There's got to be a better way if we're going to notify people something. The truth is though, if they're not getting notified, they're probably uninterested to even know what's going on until it's too much past the time to find out the news.
And that's what I want to try to avoid. I want to try to avoid the NIMBY. That not in my backyard because they all of a sudden find out because it makes big news and it's like, sorry, the boulder's already going. The avalanche has already started. There is no way to stop this. And you all of a sudden start having, you know, a good example is let's say that if not only that one company that came to talk to us last time, First Finishers, I believe it was, but what happens if within a central business district, almost half the people, property owners, all of a sudden stepped up and went, excuse me, what are you getting ready to start doing with this? And it's like, we already passed the ordinance. Well, I did, and now we're dealing with, you've got 50% or even 25% would be detrimental because of the damage that they could do by just putting roadblock after roadblock in front of us of trying to do what it is that we're trying to do.
Well, and that's why when I offered whatever I said on the, they said that it was a parking thing. And I said, well, parking could be waived. It says right here, but it wasn't just about parking. It's they wanted a certain specific thing built, which was duplex. And so again, we passed it, we voted on that prior to knowing. I would just recommend that if people want to, and it's good because I think a lot of us came here on city council because we were like, well, we don't know what the heck's going on. Well, we want to be a part of it. So I think as part of our responsibility as being on city council is that kind of awareness to give to the community and to say, hey, if you want to get involved and let me be a mouthpiece to you and give you the resources to do so. But if we're going to go ahead and make a general consensus that nobody's going to fill out, because we know that when people have senses, nobody does it. You get 5% back on 100% that you put out. It's pointless. I'm not trying to shoot you down. I'm just saying.
No, I appreciate and absolutely agree with what you're saying because we want transparency.
Right.
That's what we want. We want to have that preventable. I didn't know this. What do I do? We want, but I don't think we need to spend $25,000 when the city already pays for
I was
us.
gonna ask, are
We are
those
the
generated
mouthpiece.
off-site, Stephanie?
Yeah, so we have a vendor that generates our utility statements and they would also generate the flyer.
And how
stuff
many
and-
go out?
Do we know
per
how many
month?
go out? Like
It's-
Cody, do you know for the customers that,
Yeah, that's somewhere.
how many?
4,500 range.
4,500. So
I
not,
was-
so you're not gonna reach that many people.
Well, I was gonna
So-
say, if we had a stuffing party once a month I've done that stuff when I was a kid, man, it goes fast. We
Yes,
could have,
back
so
when
we
you
could
were
have
in
Christmas
Kansas or
stuffing
something.
parties and.
Can we
As I
just
said,
get-
I just want to make sure that we are.
Right,
not
maybe
just-
can we
wouldn't
just,
cost
can we
that
just
much.
get
It's
some
just
kind of
photocopy.
hard
Get an
numbers,
estimate.
get some estimates and then
Well,
discuss it
also, I
later?
like,
Yeah.
Mayor's idea.
Sure,
of
I'll-
listserv.
That was not a bad idea.
That's,
What
Yeah.
is-
that's
what
a
is
good idea
that?
as well.
Yes.
It's
I like
just
it.
an email.
Yeah.
Email group that's all gets sent out.
But if the people
A
don't have
message.
social media, they may not
Well,
have
if they
email.
don't
I mean,
have
so,
email.
No,
but we're-
Yeah,
I
but
can understand
even-
doing the list where here's my-
There are a lot more
Right.
people have email than have social
True.
media, like
True.
Facebook's very low, but email's pretty
Right.
high.
Right.
Like I rarely come across a client that doesn't have an email.
right.
I don't have Facebook,
We can
but I
use-
stay in tune with.
we can use the emergency texting service.
Yeah.
It's an emergency Christmas party.
Can we move
Come
on
to the
from that?
Yeah.
No, we
Okay,
Yeah, if
Yep.
that's what council would like, though, we can absolutely do the listserv and I'll chat with IT. Todd, please make note and we'll move forward with that.
okay,
Cool.
thank you. Josh?
Number
Yep,
two.
thank you,
No, I
council.
know, I know.
That was just
That was
That was just
Well,
one.
no, that really wasn't even.
Well, yeah, they
His, kind of
went
it,
on to
yeah.
something else, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how it's
no,
supposed
no,
to be,
it's
right?
supposed to
We
be.
didn't know what's coming ahead. of us.
So based on a conversation today with a, somebody,
Okay.
You can't say that and not say the names.
yes, I can. And they, encouraged me again to encourage us to sell the 640 acres. Now, this gentleman wasn't a buyer, but he is somebody who's pretty smart. And so I'm like, I will bring it up again to sell the 640 acres, Todd and Mayor,
Yeah, can you guys give
since you
an
guys are in
We
charge.
don't have it yet, do we? We don't have it.
Yeah,
You
Todd, do you
give
want
an
to talk about
update
kind
on
of
it, just a
timeline
little?
what we need to get done?
Do you want to talk about it?
You want
Do
to
you
talk
wanna
about
talk about it?
timeline, what we need to do that?
Yeah, so where we're at.
Off the,
where we're at
top of your head.
Where we're at currently is, we still need to get the property appraised. We had the timber appraised, we're gonna get a new appraisal, that changes every couple months. So the next step would be to get an appraisal. And then I would think that, we need to add it to some sort of work agenda for this group to really look at the options with that. Like, we need to have work sessions just centered on this 640 acres. Like, obviously, there's tons of possibilities with it, but it really has to be driven by yourselves and the mayor on what direction you want to go. So I had anticipated that once we get through the budget process and get all that done, put to bed, then we could start to kind of reconvene on this full 640 acres, decide what direction do we want to go? Because it is ours, it's completely ours at this point. And so that just kind of, again, I think it's a much deeper discussion. I know we touched on it at the retreat last year. I know Cody did some information on, what the previous plan was. And so we could bring that back and talk about that again and kind of get in depth with it and then just.
Yeah.
See what we can move forward. So,
So
Yeah,
can we
and
put
so
it on
just to
for
go
like
off that-
January?
yeah.
Yeah, if I may, real quick. So the next step after, as Todd kind of drew it out, you have to get the appraisal, but after that, I believe we should have another council retreat early next year. I like having the annual retreat. I think it was very helpful. But this would be one of those big items where we could kind of flesh it out a little bit more, have some proposed plans, some possible plans to the city council, and you can kind of go from there. If you don't like any of them, obviously selling it is one option. We would look at developing it as a master plan community is the other, and something else if council wants to go a different route. But I think that's probably the best route for us to take on it. We do own it now. I'm pretty confident, Stephanie, all the checks have been sent and all that,
Yes.
right, Steph?
She said yes.
So, yeah.
Do you have a timber
yeah, now the
appraisal
appraisal,
plan
yeah.
schedule? There's no point of having timber appraised if we're not gonna do anything with it,
Yeah. I mean,
because the
timber-
market so
Right.
fluctuates.
Yeah, the timber appraisal is something we could do when we get closer to deciding what we're gonna do actually with it. Of course, the land appraisal is a little bit more consistent than the timber,
Right,
so we can get the land appraisal done at any time, we've been in touch with the individual that will do it. And so really, it's just a matter of, again, we didn't want to do even the land appraisal too early, and then wait a year to decide what we're gonna do with it, and then have to pay roughly about $8,500 to get the appraisal done. So we didn't want to waste the appraisal if we weren't, at a point to where we, could make a decision on what we would do with it.
Right.
Isn't there
Just a
study
reminder,
done?
council, it is zoned as a master plan community. So if we did sell it, someone would have to develop back allows for zoning, certain areas for residential, commercial, and all that stuff. If council, obviously, if council want to change that, they have the right to do so.
Isn't there a study that's still being done on it?
The HCP,
That's what I was gonna ask.
That's not on it
That's-
specifically.
yes.
No, it's on that property. They are doing the wildlife study or whatever, see what all is there. I remember that was briefed at the.
Yeah.
At the retreat. It's been briefed another time. during
No,
this
that's
year
for the whole
from-
city.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct, Brian.
Yeah, so when's
That's the
that,
whole city.
right, but that is also very important for that property there because of the fact that there's still what was it, if I remember correct, they had to go in and try to figure out if there's pocket gophers,
Right.
any other.
Yep.
special plants and all
Cody, do you
that.
want to tell them about that?
And then there's
the timeline
still
for that?
if I remember correct, that's a year off before that can be done.
Yeah, so the HCP and the reason the 640 is kind of important is just in that aspect is that some land has to be set aside as habitat for whatever animals we discover or protected wildlife we discover in the city. So there could be a possibility in several legislators going through this right now of purchasing land, Thurston County, purchasing land for preserves to kind of mitigate gophers or whatever. Not just gophers, there's bees, there's a couple other animals, the lark.
Butterfly,
Turtles.
Yeah, so it might be.
Panda bear.
Look at 640 acres, once we have a knowledge of what's in there and what we can set aside, then maybe that is set aside, and we sell the rest or whatever you guys decide to do with it. But it might be beneficial to sit and wait until we get a little more knowledge about that. We don't have to wait till the end of the report for that to happen, but it's gonna probably.
I'm
be 6
saying
months
that,
out.
because Thurston County is done, isn't it?
Thurston County
It's
is
complete.
not completely approved, yes, but it is complete.
But it's complete. So we can take that and say, okay, well, this most likely it's made by the same company. Is it gonna be vastly different for Yelm than Thurston County?
The areas in Yelm will be different. So the.
Vastly different?
Not vastly, there's two that they did add.
Because
so-
Yelm's this big, Thurston County's this big. Yeah, how's it gonna be vastly different? I would assume we could get a pretty good idea of. It's gonna be this, this, and this. Coming down the line, we could expect this to happen because. That borders, it's not that big compared to Thurston County. I mean, if they found this on this side of the line, well, we know this side of the line. It'll probably be the same thing, because it's just a line through the woods.
You really push it for sale.
So can't we just put this on, like, make sure, get through the budget?
Well,
Put
I'm
it
just
on-
saying, as part of our
Yes.
preparation, as for the conservation plan as well.
I
Because we
agree.
know, okay, this sideline, Thurston County has said this, well, we need to prepare that. They're gonna say the same thing for
Hi,
us.
Sonia.
We need to
Hi.
be prepared
Thank you.
for them to say that to us as well.
But all the groundwork has been done, because we had this conversation, it's already been done as far as the HCP, it's already been projected as, we don't have to redo all that again, right?
Yeah, so we don't have to, like, the Thurston County HCP will be very similar to ours. They have a lot more area though. So we have a lot less to work with in terms of mitigation land. So that can be more.
So the
important.
mitigating is what's still a factor,
That would be a big factor because we don't know what lands in Yelm we can use as mitigation.
because if you utilize this certain amount, then you have to make up for it over here for the mitigation of,
The
okay,
640 some of that 640 could be used to mitigate.
Correct.
Right.
and all for
And
the
we should be able to see
habitat
that ahead of
conservation.
time.
Yeah, and I wouldn't imagine it'd be the entire 640 because we don't have that large of mitigation. But you could estimate somewhere in the 20.
But it's already been surveyed for pocket gophers and everything, it's already
They're
been,
doing that now.
Oh,
They're out
okay.
there, there's guys out there, girls out there every week, every month, going out and doing use. for-
Regularly.
Regularly, yes, during that different habitat time.
so we should sell it before we find a
That
pocket.
time
gopher.
ends in October, Cody.
The pocket gopher does, but you still have larch, you still
Oh,
have.
the other
bees, you still have
things,
frogs,
okay.
So they go out and do a bunch of different surveys for all different types of animals.
So what's the window of, so basically it's say, when they find the property, hey man, we're pocket gopher free, how long does that statute of limitations last?
So pocket go for free.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Well, that's
so
for developing. not for
it's a
selling.
1 year,
Right,
you have to do a report every 1 year.
So every year.
Every year you have to get a new report. It lasts for up to a year, that next full calendar year.
So where we at right now? How we pocket go for
Well,
free?
it's not done like that. We're not doing we're not billing on it. Like, we're not looking at a bill. We're looking at it for mitigation property and stuff like that. We don't
Okay.
want to find a pocket gopher and then get rid of the pocket gopher there. We want to go, cool, pocket gopher's here, we can use this. But the 640 is a lot of wetlands and wooded areas.
Yeah.
So the chance of pocket gopher is very minimal. It's actually one of the few places in Yelm that doesn't have ideal soils for pocket gopher. So the benefit here could be an exchange with maybe another city that had wetlands they need to mitigate, but they have pocket gopher land to use. So we could do it as an exchange with it. These are ideas that could happen, but
Thank you. That makes a lot of
So-
sense.
yeah.
So this is gonna be a huge conversation. This is not,
No, it's
So
not
I-
for tonight.
no. All right. So I was gonna
Yeah.
ask that we could just make sure that we get it put on, or even can we do special meetings? I mean, not, probably not till everything's done, but yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it'll
Okay.
not just be with city council. Obviously, city council will have a big role in this, but the public will, I'm sure, will have some input on it as well. And so, yeah, there'll be multiple public meetings and all that. It's a big deal for the city. It's a lot of land, gonna kind of shape how the city grows or doesn't grow and all that.
So is that okay with you?
No,
No, I'm glad you brought it up. I'm just-
Constituents, you know.
Yeah.
You
they
can go talk
gotta-
to your constituents now.
Yeah,
Oh, they'll reach out to other
I'm
people,
sure
no,
they
trust
will,
me,
yeah.
I already told them to, so.
do you have anything else?
That's good enough for now.
Thank
There's
you.
other people here
Thank you.
that need to speak.
Joseph,
I'm good. I have no initiatives at the moment.
okay, Terry,
Not really. There's a lot going on with public works and the Arts Commission and the fountain and all the things we talk about and the city arch and all the beautification, but nothing specific actually.
Brian?
Nothing more this time to discuss, just budget.
Gosh, what do I talk about? What do you mean by
Initiative.
the city arch?
Here we go.
The 12. So if you look in
What'd
the
you have to add?
transportation plan,
Ashley.
downtown vision plan,
If we can have a YMCA, we can have an.
there's a,
Oh, we don't have one. I was
we
trying to.
don't
We
have
remember
one,
where
no.
is that?
No, we don't. have-
Okay,
from the Prairie Line Trail, to make it go over the highway.
road.
yes.
So you can walk over,
Pedestrian bridge.
right over.
Pedestrian bridge,
Pedestrian
and then it's
bridge.
gonna
Got it.
say welcome to you.
No, I take it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to
It's-
picture one that is
If you read
existing.
if you read the plan where it's like low priority, I'm like, "Ah, that's
You
kind
know,
of cool, I
you know.
like it. Let's bump that priority. up.
Yeah, because there is confusion on where the trail starts because the road in the middle.
Cause yeah, you have to go up to the sidewalk, push the button, and you cross it, come back down. Get the train.
I can tell where the trail starts because it's highly decorated with beautiful flowers.
It was
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, those were removed.
They
No
will
more
remove-
plastic.
Yeah, no more plastic.
all
We're
natural,
fake.
all natural.
Yep.
I was curious about the beautification grant. I know those needed to be done by a certain time, and I noticed masonry cafes, theirs looked done. And then, well, mine was done, and then yours was done. But I don't think Tim's, did they do anything?
Oh, yeah, they were
Did
gonna
they
do
send
the
in for
landscaping.
reimbursement? Cause that's supposed to be, yeah.
They haven't submitted.
So they get reimbursed.
Masonry also.
But yeah,
has
Kathy, do you want to speak to it?
paint colors
Yeah.
or
Oh, it
receive
looks
final
good.
finish, and so there's either one of them, I've gotten anything from. so.
Interesting.
That's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
Hmm.
Okay.
Is it a bummer?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the bummer.
Saving taxpayer money.
Well, yeah.
For
Money
not
that was
doing
already
anything.
set aside though.
Yeah. So do you have anything else?
No.
Initiatives? I don't have any initiatives. Todd or Cody or Stephanie, is there anything you want to share?
I'll just say, mention quickly about this room and this space. If this is something that's gonna work for us, maybe longer term, we are looking at a bigger table. Moving it differently, so there's more space around the table for more folks. Lighting, we're gonna update the lighting a little bit.
How about a couch?
I would say, get yourself something more comfy, like what's with these chairs? Oh, yeah.
But if it is something that you guys think will work, we have talked about doing some, even moving the owl in different places where it's not right in front front of you.
Ooh, change it every week, different location, mix it up.
Yeah, mix it up, see if people can find it.
I do
Yeah.
like this room though. You don't even need a bigger table.
And I appreciate
Yeah,
you
it's gonna be
guys.
bigger table, it's more comfortable chairs for you guys.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, that looks uncomfortable over there.
So anyway, if it works out, we do have some ideas.
Yeah.
The room will be more usable for us.
Trying to
But it
spice
is
this up
extremely
here.
helpful for staff and whatnot to be able to have it here. Because we can just move stuff here instead of packing it across the street.
Yeah, no, I think it works
So
well.
if this works, we do have some ideas on how we can, fix the cabling and everything, so we're not taking it down the day of the meeting.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
just let me know, please give us feedback on what you guys want to do. And if it's something you guys want to keep doing, we'll look at better ways to improve it for everybody, so.
I like this room.
Yeah, I do too. I guess.
Take a vote.
Cody, do you have
Oh,
anything?
this looking like fancy cake
Stephanie?
for Dubai.
Kathy? All right, we're done.
We're done.
Oh, Joe, do you?
I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, well, I know, but yeah. Okay, thank you.
Good meeting, Holly.
Thanks, Joe.